Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone. It is I, King Emilio, and today we are exploring the great medieval castles. How were they? Were they comfortable to live in? We will find out today as everyone enters the stream. Let me know how you are doing. And of course, hit the follow, hit the like. How's everyone on TikTok, on YouTube, on Twitch? Come on in, everyone. All my great warriors. All the great kings, queens, knights, lady knights, allies of the kingdom are welcome to join. For the kingdom! For the kingdom! Let's get the likes up, everyone. Tyrant Queen Olivia, good to see you. Good to see everyone in here. Let us begin with a great video called What Life Was Like in a Medieval Castle. Let's begin, shall we?
Movies and TV have made life in a castle look like an episode of MTV Cribs. Provided you're one of the nobles, but it wasn't all feasts and festivals. Castles were dark, dank, smelly fortresses loaded with vermin and disease. Today we're exploring what life was really like in a medieval castle. If you were one of the
We shall see today. Was it glorious? Was it fun? Was it all you thought it would be to live inside a beautiful, large castle? We'll find out today. What do you think? Let me know how you think the medieval castle's gonna... You think it's gonna be a great place to live? Would you want to live in one? Let me know down below. Jackson writes, I hope our castle is clean, King. Of course, Jackson. Tyrant Queen Olivia writes, totally nowhere near your castle right now. Ah, Tyrant Queen Olivia, I'm watching you. All right, everyone, let's continue. Let us see how the medieval castles were like.
ruling class, you got to indulge in rich wine and the occasional hot bath.
Wine,
For the most
yes.
part, there wasn't much comfort or relaxation to be found outside of going to church and torturing an enemy to death.
Oh.
Before we get started,
Oh, yes. You can't have a day or two go by without torturing someone in your medieval castle. Ah! Ah! You'll probably hear those yells throughout the halls of the castle. So remember that. If you ever come by my castle and you're an enemy of mine, you will be found in the dungeon. Ah!
Click to follow
All
to
right.
support King Emilio
Here we go.
for the kingdom.
that you would like to hear about.
Ooh, castle smell terrible.
For Europeans in medieval times, plumbing was a distant dream, which means there was no such thing as running water and absolutely no way to flush a toilet. Waste just collected in a big cesspool beneath the toilet.
Oh my. Imagine the person that would have to clean that. All the shit coming down like whoosh, whoosh. Oh my. I wouldn't want that job. But someone would have to do it. Probably a peasant. Yeah, so I'll probably send like 2 or 3 peasants over there and be like, get the shit out of here.
Actually making every castle a giant porta potty. Now picture that porta potty on the hottest day of the summer. Maybe
Oh,
that's
no.
why everyone on Game of Thrones is so angry all the time. And it wasn't just the perpetual stench of feces.
Oh my. I can't believe that. I hope that the castle didn't smell like shit back in those days. I know, of course, there was no plumbing, so the shit couldn't go anywhere. But hopefully, when you shit it down that hole, hopefully it was so deep down that you wouldn't be able to smell it. Only the peasants would probably smell it. You should be in a movie. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. Good afternoon, King. How you doing, two-handed controller? How's everyone doing? Do me a favor, chat. Let's double tap. Let's share the live. If you're watching me on Twitch, on YouTube, on TikTok, let's get the likes up, follow, and remember, Kingdom. For those who are loving the segments, for those who want to support this stream, check out the product of the day, Kingdom. For those who do not know, we showcase an amazing Armor Kingdom treasure. And today's treasure is none other than the Armor Kingdom Red Skull mug. This beautiful mug, you can drink your favorite elixir, soda, elixir like vodka, whiskey, and so much more. Whatever you want to drink in it, you can drink it out of this. It's a great conversation starter Anyone that sees your mug will be like, what is that? Where'd you get it? A pristine mug. And it is linked in my bio, Great War. Jumpman Gamer writes, YouTube is slowing down in Russia. Oh no. I love your acting, no joke. I appreciate that. Does our king have actual toilets? I have plenty, Jackson. All right, everyone, let's continue where we left off.
He's making castle life stinky. No running water means no baths unless you are super rich. So all the servants in a castle were running around smelling as ripe as my old gym bag. On top of that, the servants couldn't afford medicine like lords and nobles could. So
once again, everyone, as you can see, chat, you would definitely need some gold coins. The more gold coins you had in your purse, the more likely you were to have a pleasant, fruitful life. If you didn't have the coins, well, you would end up looking like this individual right here. You see this individual right there? Yes, you'll probably look like that when you don't have this. Gold! Sweet, sweet gold! Oh, yes. Welcome back, Ghost. Welcome back. Nice, you are a lot going to deal with the German gnome. Get him, Justin. Get the German gnome. All right.
Intensely ill and trying to make do with home remedies or praying to God it would go away. And hey, speaking of those toilets, privacy wasn't really a thing in castles unless you owned
no privacy.
So when you
yes, back in those days, no privacy, especially in a castle.
Had to run off to the bathroom to do your necessaries, you'd be doing it on a long wooden bench.
As you can see, look, just a hole, and you just sit on it. Wha-bang! No flushing, just straight down the hole. It's an unfortunate thing. But it's better than nothing.
With several holes cut into it, in full view of your friends, co-workers, and really anyone else who happened to walk by. Again, there was no flushing, so your business would just drop down into a gigantic pit of horrors inside the castle. And let's hope you never accidentally dropped your wagon keys in there, because you might as well.
Note to self, make sure you don't have any small belongings when you're using the toilet, because when it falls, oh, you don't want to go get it. You don't want to retrieve that. That is disgusting. I'll probably send a peasant down there, though, to retrieve it. I would do that. Purple Shirt Guy writes, how are you doing? I'm doing great, Purple Shirt Guy. Thank you for asking. Tyrant Queen Olivia, good to see everyone in here. Welcome in, everyone. Oh, my great kings, queens, Viking brothers, sisters, allies of the kingdom. It's good to see you. Right now, we are reacting to what life was like in a medieval castle. War Thunder Guy writes, yo, King, it's been a while. Indeed it has. War Thunder Guy. What? Francisco. How you doing, Francisco? Hi, my knight. Greens from Guatemala. Hello there, Francisco. Good to see you. Everyone, let's continue.
We'll be throwing it into a septic volcano.
As you can see, look at that. The average castle housed over 100 people. Yes, kings and queens would need tons of servants, serfs, peasants to work the castle on a day-to-day basis. So yes, you would have to have, as you can see, a minimum of 100 people there.
You know how cramped the house gets when one or two relatives come to visit? Multiply that times 100, and that's what living in a castle was like. Castles required dozens of servants just to maintain the day-to-day workings, not to mention the several generations of the lord and lady's families living there and all of their personal servants and attendants. It was like living in a tiny cramped city, all serving the needs of a single family.
What can I say? Nothing's better than being a king and queen of your castle. If you were a peasant, well, let's just say life was a little bit harder. But if you were a king, you had over 100 people at your service. Yes. Purple Shirt Guy writes, when are we attacking the gnomes? Very soon. I'm planning to attack very, very soon. I just noticed your little crown on your headphone. It looks nice. Ah, you noticed it. Look. Yes. Thank you. At least our known kingdom isn't crowded. Tyrant Queen Olivia, soon you will not have a kingdom. Once I'm done with Crawley, we're taking out all the gnomes. Galaxy Ethan writes, Throne and Liberty stream soon? Yes, Galaxy Ethan. Right now, we are reacting to what a life was like in a medieval castle.
We've all seen enough fantasy films and Disney cartoons to know that castles had dungeons where the lord and lady could throw criminals, political opponents, or really anyone who happened to offend them at any particular moment. What they tend to skip in the Disney films is that these prisoners were routinely tortured in grotesque ways.
Yes.
One pop.
You hear that? Oh, you were gonna be tortured by any means necessary. If you were doing treason, torture. If you were plotting against the king and the crown, torture. If you were a criminal, torture. Torture. That was the go-to back in those days. So yes, it was better to be on the side of the king and the crown than get on the bad side. You wouldn't like that. Do you want to be my sleep paralysis demon? Never bone meal the night. The hell? Watch me, writes purple shirt guy. Watch what? Watch what? What are you telling me to watch?
Popular method involved letting the prisoner be eaten alive from the inside out by hungry rats. Isn't that fun to watch? In addition,
That would be a horrible way to go. Imagine just rats eating through you. And then Jumpman Gamer writes, I will be a criminal apple seller. Well, Jumpman Gamer, if you do that in our kingdom, in my castle, oh, you will get familiar with the rats. Ah! Stop, King, stop! Mark my word. Don't be against the king and the crown, Jumpman Gamer. You don't want that. Ghost writes, keep up the good work. Will do. I'm eliminating all in Egypt, King. The gnomes, my friend? Are you talking about the gnomes?
in addition to being just plain old sadistic, the common belief was that the extreme pain helped cleanse a person of their sins, which brings terrifying new meaning to the phrase, this is for your own good. We're talking about rats.
Maybe that is where this meaning came from. This is for your own good. It will beat you, torture you, and it would, at the end, remove all the sin. Oh, yes, a good beatdown, and then your sins have been removed. Let me see. When are you gonna show your cute face? One day, just not today. Oh, yes. Hello, my king. How you doing, JD? Before we continue, everyone, let me grab some elixir. Thank you so much for everyone joining me right now. Let me drink some elixir before we continue reacting to what life was like in the medieval castle. Cheers. Let's continue.
Rats can be tricky to deal with even today, so imagine what it was like living in a gigantic, dark, damp castle with no modern
and more rats.
pest control. Rats were everywhere, and there really wasn't much you could do about them. You just sort of accepted rat infestation as a part of normal life, kind of like the Chevy Malibu of the day. After a while, you'd imagine people would get used to the rats.
You see, if I had tons of rats in my castle, the first thing I would do to combat it is get more cats. Because guess what? You can domesticate the cats. So I would get a lot of cats. Maybe if I saw that we were overrun by rats, I would get more cats. I think that would be the best way to eliminate the rat problem. What do you think? What would be your game plan to remove the rats from your castle if you had one? Let me know in the chat. How much money do you need to show face? I don't need any money right now. So no money at all. But thank you for asking.
But many medieval folks were deathly afraid of them. Certainly didn't help that they were a popular instrument of torture, or that around this time they carried a plague that eradicated around half the population of Europe.
Okay. Ah, everyone was drunk all of the time. Oh yes, back in those days, especially if you were a peasant or lower in the castle, guess what? The only thing that will relieve your pain, your frustration, your struggle would be some ale, some mead, something to, ooh, oh, life is not that bad. Oh yes, some of that, some of this, yes, some of this ghost, yes. A Jumpman Gamer writes, I suppose I could have been a inquisitor in the medieval ages, punishing heretics. Yeah, damn right. Indeed, Jumpman Gamer, that would be the best way. Zombie writes, you got a 50-50 chance to get a cat that hunts, my king. Well, Zombie, the cats that wouldn't want to hunt, oh, we would, let's just say, get rid of them. You know what I'm saying, Zombie? Get rid of them. Thank you for the follow, purple shirt guy. Everyone, for those who do not know, we are reacting to what life was like in a medieval castle. Let's continue.
At this point, it should come as no surprise that castle-dwelling folk like to stay sauced. Because the best way to get through a day inside an overcrowded, poo-smelling house of rat torture was with a mug of ale firmly in hand.
This is so true.
Pretty much.
Imagine if you were living in the medieval time. Especially if you weren't high up in royalty. Oh, you would want to drink your pain away. So yes, getting drunk was a daily occurrence back in those times, even more than it is today.
Whatever they wanted, including fine wines, beers, and spirits. But the servants, they had to take what they could get. It was actually safer to drink alcohol than water, because most...
You hear that, chat? That was another reason. You see, sometimes the water had, let's just say, it wasn't safe to drink. So the beautiful thing about drinking mead ale is that you would heat up the water and it would pretty much destroy any bacteria, anything that was inside that. So yes, it was much safer to drink than, imagine drinking back in those days from the river. Sometimes people would, use the restroom, take a shit in the water. No plumbing back then, so probably people would shit, wash themselves in the river. Imagine drinking that. I would definitely drink a pint of ale, mead, something that was cooked away the diseases. Ghost writes, are you going to play a game on live? Of course, Ghost. Right now we are reacting and doing something different. What life was like in a medieval castle. Thank you so much, everyone. Knights will lose, never. All right, let's continue.
Water you could find would be so contaminated, the TSA would confiscate it as a weapon.
This game, you're not ready for.
With all that drinking going on, you'd assume that most people in a castle wouldn't drag themselves out of bed until at least noon. And while that may have been true for the lords, the servants had to get up to work as soon as the sun came up. Electricity obviously didn't exist yet.
Work! Work, peasants! Work, serf! Back in those days, the sun dictated almost everything. So when you saw the sun come out, you would have to rise. Or you did not want to get in the bad side of the king. Knocking at your village. Boom, boom, boom. Why aren't you at work? Work! Work from the sunrise to the sunset. Yes, especially if you were a peasant or a serf.
So sunlight was crucially important. Castles are dark places, even during the day, so the servants had to capitalize on every second of sunlight just to get their work done. Even if you didn't work in a castle, unless you were wealthy, odds are you worked as a merchant or a craftsman or laborer, so you had to be up at the crack of dawn if you expected to make any
Link
money.
in bio. Thank you for the kingdom.
You see that, king? You see that? You see that, kingdom? That's how it was. Zombie writes, my king, what is the next game you stream? I definitely have to see at what games are getting more traction. So I'll definitely let you know, Zombie, very soon. A car for an edit. Whatever car, purple shirt guy. Let me see. A car. A Corvette. Go with that. Purple shirt guy. Flaming Magma. How you doing, Flaming Magma? All right, let's continue. You took baths in a giant wooden tubs. You've seen those before? Have you seen those big, giant wooden tubs? The ones that fit 1, 2, maybe even 3 people at a time? That's how people would bathe back in those times. Let's continue.
Contrary
Yes,
to
purple
popular
shirt guy.
belief, people liked taking baths in medieval times as much as they do today. It's just that clean water was hard to come by, especially for the lower class. We really can't stress how important plumbing is. The tub itself was a cartoonish
you see, look.
wooden bucket that could be carried.
That's what I was talking about. Look, you see this? This would be before the tubs that we have nowadays. These would be the tubs people would use. The peasants, maybe 3, 4, would grab him from the side and take him to quarter so people could bathe in them. This was the method, everyone. A portable tub, a wooden tub at that. Finally, I can watch your stream without going to school, man. Finally, thank you, Made in China Roblox Gojo. Thank you. Thank you for being here. For those who do not know, this stream, we are reacting to what life was like in a medieval castle.
Carried from room to room in the castle for people to bathe in. Didn't approach the definition of either hygienic or private,
Click
but
the
at least you
follow
got to scrub off some of
button
that
to
castle
support
funk.
King Emilio for the kingdom.
Castles were very dark and extremely cold. Yes, you thought that the castles were nice and cozy. No, especially once again, if you weren't higher up in royalty, oh, you would be suffering. You would be suffering in that castle.
Castles were essentially giant basements with nothing in the way of insulation. They were designed primarily as fortresses rather than dwellings, so everything was made of cold stone. And what few windows there were didn't let in much sunlight. The lords and ladies would have the nicer rooms with fireplaces and windows, but the
Yes.
servants' quarters were often located.
That's just the way, chat. That's how life was. If you had the gold coins, you lived a little bit better. Yes. When the elevator's jam starts playing. What? What are you talking about? Flaming Magma. Gnomes will win. Never. Help, I'm getting a check by now. What are you talking about him? What are you talking about him? I don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
Located in the lower interior of the castles, frigid, lightless warrens that were breeding grounds for diseases that thrive in the damp cold. At that point, I think I'd rather sleep outside.
Look, there was always a feast or festivals to prepare. Who doesn't want a feast? Yummy! Bring the turkeys. Bring the hogs. Bring the grapes. Meat pies. Give me a lamb. Lamb chops.
There was always something going on in a castle.
Let me see. How much gold for your armor? Or at least a copy. Nero, this gold, too much for you to afford. But I could tell my blacksmith to make you something that resembles it. I would need 2,000 gold coins. And that's a fair offer, Nero. Thank you for the follow, user92. We need to protect this castle from the Oh my. Oh my. Zombie writes, nah, they burned their own kingdom down. They don't have an army to worry about, Gojo. Indeed. That's a scam, 100%. Nero, never Nero. That's a good deal. And that's coming from the king himself. My armor costs 5,000 gold bars. You see? You see, Nero Jackson's armor costs 5,000 gold coins. I gave you a deal. And guess what? The deal has expired. No deal. Hello, my friend. How you doing, Peter David? Jumpman Gamer writes, cardboard armor is the most reliable. Maybe for you, but not for me. Let's continue.
castle, whether celebrating some festival or holiday or entertaining a visiting noble family. So consequently, huge extravagant meals were the norm rather than the exception. If you were one of the cooks, you got to spend all day preparing the feast and then have your own meager meal.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the lords and ladies of the house would entertain their guests at a long wooden meal table with people seated according
Yes, I will
to
be
their
found in that
importance.
table. I will be right there, right by that beautiful queen. I will be right there. That will be my position, right on the side. I'll tell her to move a little bit and bring me a plate, for I am hungry. How you doing, Leon? How you doing, the great Leon? Zombie writes, the armor I was looking at for sparring is like 3 to 10K per set. There you go.
The important people would be seated at the head of the table, while the servants would be tucked all the way in the back, out of sight. Because nothing ruins a meal like
Yes, who wants to look at servants and peasants? Out the way, peasants. Over there. Go somewhere over there in the darkness where I can't see you. I'm trying to eat this turkey leg. I'm trying to drink my ale. Oh, ugh. The peasants. Ugh. Servants. That's just how it was back in those days, child. Peasants. I can't even stand the sight of you. Thank you, Sandman Boo Boo, for the follow. I appreciate the follow, my friend. All right.
having to look at poor people. It's like going to the Waffle House after your wedding, but sadder.
Look, everyone. You were seated and fed according to your status. The higher the status, the closer you were to the food, the better quality of food you got. It was just overall better. So definitely status mattered even more back then. If you were lower status, mark my word, you would not be eating the finest. You were probably not even eating meat. Or if you were eating meat, it would be the lower quality meat. I would be eating alongside you at the table, my king. Yes, you would, Jackson. You, zombie, great warriors like yourself, definitely will be seated right there, close by the great foods. I'll be like, bring the finest. Lamb, turkey, ale, for all my great friends. For all the peasants and serf, get them out the way.
Meals were taken in the great hall of a castle, and as we mentioned, you were seated in the hall according to your status. But your status didn't only affect where you got to sit, it also determined what you got to eat. The lord and lady and their family and guests
That would be
served
my food
gourmet
right there.
dishes with exotic
By
spices,
King
flavorful
Yes.
ingredients. If
An
you were a
elixir of
servant,
the
however,
tavern.
you got to watch them
Link
eat this food
in
while
bio.
tucking in some
Cheers.
Look at that. Peasant food. Nasty. I don't even want to look at it. I can't even stand the peasant's food. Look at that. Yes, poor peasants. Poor peasants. Luckily, I'm the king, so I eat the finest. Bring me the hog, bring me the turkey, the lambs, everything the king wants. Give it to me! Did I hear I would be at the round table? You would, zombie. Greens, my king. I'm back. Welcome back, Hogwheel Pro. So vegetarians were the lowest of the low class. Indeed, William Bruce. For the meats, definitely back in those days, were quite expensive to come by. You would either have to have great status or great gold coins to acquire meats. And high quality meat at that. Sometimes the peasants were served meat, but guess what? That was the leftover. That was like the trash of the animal. Yes, as you can see, they would make it into stews or low quality meat pies so they can mix the meat together. So let's just say it wasn't appetizing. I'm in your castle. No, you're not, Tyrant Queen Olivia. We made sure that you are not able to access it. I made it. It's ready. I'm at you. All right. Got it, purple shirt guy. All right, let's continue.
Or a meat pie at the dim end of the table. But hey, it could be worse. At least you're eating. More than 85% of a town's residents were considered peasants and weren't allowed inside the castle. So even though they were working the land for the lord or lady, it was up to them to feed themselves and their families.
Look, everyone. The lords and ladies didn't do any real work. You see, lords and ladies and anyone of higher status than that, let's just say it will be a much better life. Of course, they were still protecting the castle, dealing with politics, but you will not be doing any labor, which was great back in those days.
The lord and lady of a castle were responsible for governing the land, which included regularly making a bunch of difficult decisions and engaging in fierce political negotiations. So they couldn't be bothered with trivial matters like preparing their meals or making sure the castle didn't fall into disrepair. That's why every castle had a huge staff of servants. In addition to the standard housekeeping duties required to keep the castle running.
Yes. Let the lower class, let the peasants do all the labor. Yes, tidy up the castle. Let the king, let the lords and ladies think and ponder about where we will lead our kingdom. Yes, that was the real work right there. AZ Backdraft writes, "Hello, King. How you doing? How you doing, yours on YouTube? Everyone on YouTube, on Twitch, on TikTok, remember, hit the likes, follow, share the stream. Right now, we are reacting to what life was like in a medieval castle. Solutions, King Emilio. How you doing, Super? How you doing? Super Ethan writes, I haven't seen much gnomes recently. Yes, they've been going down. They've been taking a massive L. We've been doing a great job.
They also had to attend to the every need and whim of the lord and lady and their families. Nobody's job was easy, but at least the lords and ladies got to kick back once in a while.
Oh, look, everyone. The floors were covered in rushes to cover up animal poop. So that's like herbs, similar to, I wouldn't say spices, but similar to it. So it could cover up the scent, pretty much like a layer.
As we've established by now, castles were essentially reeky stone garbage heaps. Part of the never-ending effort to keep the castle relatively clean was the spreading of rushes, reeds, and herbs across the floor.
It was a great way.
Absorb the unsightly spills and hopefully cover up some of the more unbearable stenches. Switching.
Yes, it was like the first kind of deodorant, or like plant spray, to say the least.
Now, the old rushes for clean ones was not unlike moving a body, as beer, grease, fragments, bones, spittle, excrements of dogs and cats, and everything that is nasty would be revealed. Basically, wherever you went in the castle, you were walking on a layer of barely concealed filth. Sounds like my college dorm room.
That's how it was. The kitchen was constantly on fire. Remember, back in those days, especially in the medieval times, there was no like steel kitchens. There was no stone kitchens back then. They were made out of wood, so of course it would be fire. Think about it. A wooden kitchen, put a fire. Fire! Cook! It's not that people weren't thinking. It's just that that's the material you had back in those days. Wood was much more easier to come by. So of course you will make your kitchen out of wood.
In the time before microwaves, George Foreman grills, and sur la table, all cooking was done over open flames, which can be a problem if you're cooking in a building full of timber and hay. In the first half of the Middle Ages, most kitchens were built out of wood for reasons that history has not yet adequately explained. Consequently, your entire kitchen catching fire over a stray ember from today's lunch service was a constant possibility. Everyone and everything were flame broiled. It wasn't until later that stone became the building material of choice, and hearths were constructed to keep cook fires contained. Oh, OSHA just liked this video.
Oh, yes, chat. That's how it was back then. Fires, diseases, castles. You know, especially nowadays, looking back, they were seen as pristine buildings, but castles were quite filthy, dark, cold sometimes, especially the lower status you had. Of course, if you had more status, more gold coins, life was easier. Just like today, you have more gold coins, guess what? Life is a little bit much more better. King, you ignore my knowledge of history. Let me see. Jumpman Gabriel writes, I will reduce this fact to 2 words. In Rus, the work of peasants was highly respected. Therefore, in the tale of bygone years, they were depicted as rich and prosperous people. Got it, Jumpman Gamer. Thank you for the follow, Super 2987. Ah, look, everyone, you attended an in-house church. Yes, you will build that church closer to your castle so you can get the grace of God, the power of God on your side.
Every castle had an on-site chapel, so the Lord and Lady could attend morning mass. In fact, along with the Great Hall, the chapel was the defining structure of the castle. Everything else was constructed around those two
Magnificent.
primary rooms. If you lived in a particularly fancy castle, the chapel would be 2 stories, so that the Lord and Lady and their families could sit in the upper level and literally look down on the servants. Look at that poor person. So gross. The Middle Ages were tough, so much so that even the best-case scenario of living in a castle was pretty much a miserable experience. How would you like it in a castle? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other...
There you go, chat. There you go, Kingdom. What life was like in a medieval castle. It was glorious if you were of higher status. And let's just say, it was detrimental if you were lower class. What you think about the video? Did you get any new insight? Type it in the chat right now. I'm gonna read your chat. Sir Duck writes, my king, I planted a... oh my! In the Gnome HQ. Got it. I uploaded. Go see it. Okay, Purple Guy. How will Pro Rise? Yeah, definitely. Heck. Yes. I sacrificed myself to the gnomes. Whoa. The Armor Kingdom is way better than any castle. You got that right, Jackson. Hi, my king. How you doing, Mario? Tyrant Queen Olivia writes, damn it. Were you born a king? Indeed. Hot Wheel Pro writes, as a peasant. Oh my. Everyone, do me a favor. If you haven't yet, hit the follow, hit the likes, and remember, chat, follow all my kingdoms. The kingdom of Instagram, YouTube, Twitch. All my kingdoms are linked in my bio. So whether you're watching me on any of those different platforms, go to the other kingdoms and follow them as well. Before I go, chat, remember, you can support this great kingdom by ordering amazing merch. And today's product of the day is none other than the Armor Kingdom Red Skull mug. This beautiful mug I have sent all over the world. Hundreds of these have traveled all over the world. And you can order yours by clicking on the link in the bio. For great warriors like yourself. The best merch awaits you. You're gonna love it. Super Ethan writes, a game stream tonight? Indeed, Super Ethan. And I will see you then. I must go, Great Kingdom, but I will be back very soon. Before you go, and before I go, I would end like this. Remember, great warrior, to be brave, to be courageous, and most of all, my great warrior, believe in yourself. The journey continues. I yield the floor for the kingdom. For the kingdom. For the kingdom.
Support King
Until
Emilio
our paths meet
by
again,
ordering
my
merch
friend.
from his store.
I bid you
Link in bio.
farewell.
Thank you for the kingdom.